All right, everybody, welcome back to another week of Rips Wrestling Roundup. Dr. Rips here with my partner in crime, as always, Professor Wolvie. Professor, how are you today, my friend?
Shake handshake. That's not the hand I usually shake.
Yeah, me neither. It was a little awkward there, but
it
still works. We're also simulcasting right now on Periscope Live, so we can get some interaction with the people out there who are clamoring for this information. Interesting pay-per-view last night. We had TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, and we were remiss if we didn't mention the fact that a couple of the biggest superstars on the card missed the show because of the mumps. The mumps.
So that's confirmed that it was mumps.
It was confirmed. Originally, I guess they thought it was viral meningitis, which, I mean, I thought that was like Dark Age stuff. But the mumps, too. The mumps is not something that's really kind of readily out there all the time. Maybe the chicken pox or something like that. But
in case of the nerves.
Nerds? Somebody said.
Nerds.
Either way, we had an interesting week. We're going to start off giving you a quick recap of what happened on Raw and SmackDown last week, leading up into this week's TLC pay-per-view and also into this week's regular shows of Raw and SmackDown. So we'll see what happens, and we'll take it from there. So last week, The Shield addressed their TLC opponents, which were The Miz, The Bar at the time, and Braun Strowman. So that's what we saw at that time. The Shield came in united as a team, like the old school, coming down not coming down the entrance, coming in through the crowd. What did you think of the Shield coming out and stepping up to their TLC opponents?
From what I remember, it was a pretty good moment. You know, it's I missed a lot of the Shield's first run because I was away for a while.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that though.
I know. But I thought it was cool. Them being in the crowd. And I actually used to think, wouldn't it be funny if there was a wrestler who just walked through the crowd every time? Or maybe they could buy their own seats.
Yeah. Well, Edge and Christian used to do that too. They used to come in through the crowd. You know, the crowd would kind of, their music would hit, and it was like, well, that would be kind of funny, but you know, they used to come in the same way, and the camera would pan all over the place, and finally they come out walking in through the crowd. So the Shield comes out through the crowd. You know, and I guess Kurt Angle makes a match for later on in the show. There was a Roman Reigns against Braun Strowman steel cage scheduled. And then we had Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins defending against Cesaro and Sheamus later on in the show. So, first action that we saw, if you want to call it action, was Jason Jordan, Titus O'Neil, and Apollo Crews beating our guy, Walking with Elias, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. Anderson and Gallows continue their losing ways. What did you think of this match?
No. Elias beaten? It didn't happen.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
It didn't happen.
Well, he didn't take the pin, thankfully. But we did, you know, it was a throwaway match to kind of further along, you know, getting some stuff going with Jason, Jordan, and Elias. Titus and Apollo, you know, just still kind of doing their shtick. Elias hopefully onto some bigger and better things. Gallows and Anderson the same. You know, hopefully they can get them moving. Really no contest there. Cedric Alexander beat Gentleman Jack Gallagher.
Who and who?
Gentleman Jack coming out dressed to the nines for his matches. Vest, tie, everything.
He should have like some tea, you know what I mean?
He's something, yeah, they need something with him. I guess they're trying to really build up his gentleman character, being a heel now. I guess, you know, instead of trunks and no knee pads, it's just wearing a full-on suit.
He's pretty much just make him Bond villain at this point, and, you know, just have the cat, you know, that he could be
something.
You know, something.
Braun Strowman appeared on Miz TV.
He appeared on Miz. What?
On Miz's trunks. What did you think of Strowman's appearance on Miz TV?
You know, it's the same thing. He's Braun Smash. He never like comes out and has like, you know, like a little one-to-one sit down. Like he doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't bring it down. He's all amped up all the time, which is great. I mean, that's what his character is. So.
Yeah, I mean, he was Braun being Braun. Nothing spectacular here in that one. Sasha Banks beat Alicia Fox. You know, another match that was kind of thrown together, I guess, because of the match the week before, which was the Fatal Five-Way?
Yeah, Fatal Five-Way.
To see who fought Asuka. But nonetheless, there was a backstage altercation with the two of them. They also were going to fight at TLC, which they did last night, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Cruiserweight champion Kalisto confronted Enzo Amore a week after winning the title. What did you think of the confrontation between the Smackdalker Skywalker and the Salida del Sol man?
From what I remember, I don't know. I think Enzo probably got the best of that one.
I got to be honest, I don't remember exactly what happened either. It was a week ago, and we've already had their follow-up match, so I don't remember. I'm sure it was just a bunch of banter, though. Sorry, guys, if you were really waiting for our Kalisto and Enzo
in-depth analysis.
Yeah. But what I do remember is the Raw Tag Team Champions Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins defeating Cesaro and Sheamus. The Bar. What did you think of this one?
Good.
Good.
That's my one word, good.
Yeah, these guys always have some good matches.
Yeah. I feel like they fought a million times already.
They have, and they'll fight another time, I'm sure. I'm sure this won't be the end of their feud. And we'll discuss what happened at TLC again in a few minutes. Finn Balor addressed Bray Wyatt.
And Bray Wyatt
dressed like a woman. Clearly, obviously, last week we find out the Demon is going to be at TLC.
I'm terrified.
Bray Wyatt again not on TV. We weren't sure exactly why, but obviously now we know that he and his brother Bo Dallas, along with his girlfriend JoJo, the ring announcer, all contracted the mumps, and so did Roman Reigns. So Bray Wyatt was not at Raw. Balor was there.
He actually would have been scary if he had been live, with the mumps.
It would have been great.
It would have been creepy.
Obviously Bray too ill to show up at Raw, and as we find out, too ill to fight at TLC as well. But he did have a formidable person to take his place, which we'll get to. Obviously, a lot going on with Mickie James and Alexa Bliss leading into their match. Mickie being called an old lady, Alexa running with that kind of thing. Mickie James and Bayley beat Alexa Bliss and Emma last week to get Mickie the win over Alexa, to show her that she has the upper hand. So obviously, clearly, we know what's going to happen at the pay-per-view. What did you think of the women?
I'd rather see them fight than I just can't get into the talking segments sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Depends. Sometimes they're really good. Like, I think Alexa Bliss can be amazing on the mic.
Right.
But, like, the whole old thing, it's just like, it's almost like, Old Day? Remember when I'm a little tired of it, but...
Yep.
I mean, maybe she could beat her up and then, rub Ben Gay all over her face or something. I don't know.
Wouldn't you pay to watch that?
I don't know.
Maybe not on her face, but other areas. So, anyway, Mickie Bliss going toe-to-toe last night at TLC. Braun Strowman beats Roman Reigns in a steel cage match, toe-to-toe, tit-to-tit. Braun Strowman defeats Roman Reigns in a steel cage match to turn the WWE TLC match into a 5-on-3 handicap match. So if Braun won, then The Miz would be able to add another teammate to their team to make it a 5-on-3. If not, it would have been a 4-on-3. So what happens? We're in this match. It's a pretty good match. These guys, Roman and Braun, definitely have a good chemistry together. And what happens at the end? We have the mayoral candidate for Knox County, Tennessee, coming through the bottom of the ring and eventually choke-slamming Roman Reigns. And I think he gave him a tombstone, too. I don't remember. Either way, it allowed Braun to get the pin after a power slam. And Roman Reigns was defeated with the mumps. And Strowman has Kane added to the match for TLC, making it a 5-on-3 debacle for the match. So as we left Monday night, we're thinking, okay, we got Finn versus Bray, we've got those other matches, and we've got the Shield reuniting to take on 5 heels, including Cesaro and Sheamus, Miz, Braun, and Kane. I give you Kane.
Is he ever a good guy? They could have called him Sugar Cane. Sugar Cane.
He's one of those guys that's been heel, babyface, heel, babyface, heel, babyface. Just like the Big Show. They've kind of gone through a million. It's funny. I read some kind of meme saying basically about how Kane or Big Show rather, they just, you never know when they're a babyface or a heel. They're like, okay, Kane comes back as a monster. Then they give him some really crappy comedic booking to the point where at the end of his run, he's singing and dancing. And then he leaves and he comes back and he's a powerful guy again. Who knows? So right now he's dominant Kane. So nonetheless, Kane added to the match. So let's go through SmackDown real quick and then we can get to our TLC review. SmackDown, Daniel Bryan came out, was interrupted by Sami Zayn and then Kevin Owens, basically exchanging some heated words about how Bryan is non-existent in wrestling anymore. It seems to be like all these guys are hitting on that point. So either, they're just milking that until Bryan leaves, and then goes to wrestle when his contract is up, or eventually they're going to have him wrestle for them. Not sure with all the concussion protocols and lawsuits and stuff that are going on, if that will end up happening. Nobody wants to see Daniel Bryan wrestle more than I do. But what did you think of the exchange between KO, Sami Zayn, and Daniel Bryan?
Exchange heated words. Fire, hot, flame,
heat, oven,
volcano. Yeah, I mean, I thought he laid some pretty good stuff down on him. You know, it was kind of like one of those, burn moments.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel a little bad for Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is the rhetoric all the time. Miz does it to him, and then, other guys doing it to him. It's just going to be the running thing. So either they're going to build to some crescendo where he actually does wrestle for them, or they're just making him look stupid until he leaves. Either way, Daniel Bryan, we will see him in a ring again, hopefully, and that's all. I don't care where it is, but wherever it is, I will watch.
Yeah, he had a good line though when he was walking up the ramp, and he said something about he was going to go find two guys to punch them in the face or something. I thought that was good.
Yep,
I like that.
Yeah, and he did eventually find two people, but that was later on in the show. Hopefully, seems to me maybe they're building this Zayn and KO against AJ and Shane match for Survivor Series, although some tend to think now, since it's going to be Raw versus SmackDown, that we could see a rematch of a match that we saw last night, and we'll get to that also. Charlotte Flair, Naomi, and Becky Lynch beat Natalya, Lana, and Tamina. What did you think of this crap show?
I don't know. I feel like they're trying to build up Tamina to be. She should be she is a badass, but I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like the audience doesn't quite even. They don't even treat her like a heel. There's almost kind of like, I don't want to say silence when she comes out.
Well, I think, and that's attributed to the fact that with a lot of other people, they just don't give you reason to feel that way. Tamina is bigger than most women there. Her father was Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Yeah. So, you've got this kind of built-in thing where she knows how to wrestle. It's clear. And she's a big, dominant Amazon woman. So she's never been booked that way, though. So, they have her be this badass. She doesn't really talk much. Yeah. And then she loses a lot. So what it's almost like Jinder before. It's almost like there's this guy that's huge and he's big and he looks good and he just gets beat every week. So it's one of those things where, if they want Tamina to be a badass, they need to book her like that. Same with Nia Jax. You can't have this woman dominate and get close and then just lose to Sasha Banks on the Raw beforehand or something. You got to build these women as dominant figures. That's what they did with Awesome Kong and TNA, who ended up coming as Karma to WWE for a short stint. Beth Phoenix for a while was this dominant woman, and she always was kind of dominant, but she would lose these matches where you're like, that's not believable. If they did the right thing, I don't think that the Lana experiment is working with her. I think Lana should just kind of stop wrestling and just look good, which is what she does best. I also think that Tamina deserves better than she's gotten, and we'll see what happens with them if they're going to build her up or not. It seems like they just keep going to the same well. It's Natalya, okay, it's Charlotte, Natalya, everybody else kind of fall into place until the next feud. SmackDown used to be good at having this undercard of women, even though the championship was where it was. Then there would be, but Nikki Bella would fight Carmella, and Natalya was fighting this one. So they had these other things. Now it just seems like, okay, it's the championship matches, and then there's tag team matches around it. So
they're all in the same match.
Yeah, it's just, and that's attributed to the fact that there's only like 6-7 women on each show. So how are you going to have tons of diversity if there's only the same women all the time? So we'll see. I mean, there's so many women. I think they really need to just do a women's show.
Actually, that'd be kind of
yeah, it would be great. They have a lot of women. They have all the women on NXT. They have all the women that are on Raw and SmackDown. And they've got all the women that were in the Mae Young Classic that they could sign and potentially grow. So I think the women's division needs a little bit of something going on. Maybe they'll do something at Survivor Series. We'll discuss. In a blur, a friend of mine said something to me about WWE is burying Baron Corbin again because Sin Cara happened to get a count-out win against him on SmackDown. And I think the contrary. I mean, first of all, 2 weeks ago, Corbin beat AJ Styles clean after winning the title the 2 nights before at whatever pay-per-view that was, No Mercy or what, I don't remember, Hell in a Cell, whatever it was. I think it was Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
But to me, it's okay, well, they're just, first of all, they still need that Latin star that they're looking for. They haven't really developed one since Rey Mysterio left, and they need one. I think this was a way to kind of just get a fresh opponent for Baron Corbin. he didn't pin him. He beat him by countout. So it's like, okay, now we got somebody who Baron Corbin is looking for revenge after. And we may not get that in a pay-per-view match. We may just get it on SmackDown this week, a revenge match or whatever. I wouldn't read too much into it. I also wouldn't think that they're going to bury Corbin. I mean, he's the U.S. champion. He's got 2 straight weeks where he beat AJ Styles. What do you think about Sin Cara and Corbin?
I feel like everybody's beating AJ Styles recently.
Fortunately.
Yeah, I didn't really see that coming because you're right. It was a quick count-out win. I don't know where they go from there. If anybody thinks that Sin Cara is like an actual threat. But,
yeah, exactly.
With that win, maybe that's,
Well, I think that's the whole point. I don't think anybody would have believed that beforehand, but now maybe since he won by countout, he's a formidable opponent. So we'll see what they do with that this week. In an interesting turn of events and something that we discussed last week as a possibility for Survivor Series, WWE champion, the modern-day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, came out and challenged Brock Lesnar to a match at Survivor Series. Now, obviously, the theme for Survivor Series looks like it's going to be Raw versus SmackDown. Jinder versus Brock Lesnar. We talked about this last week. Obviously, tonight on Raw, we'll discuss in our Raw preview for tonight, is going to either accept or deny the challenge. Now, he's going to accept it.
Yeah.
Where does WWE go with this? Clearly, there's not one person in the world that would bet money on Jinder Mahal winning this match.
Yeah.
And he won't win this match. But what does that do? What is the purpose of this? Is it, okay, to get your champion versus their champion? Great. Jinder, has beaten everybody pretty much with the help of the Singh brothers, except for Shinsuke in the last match. But how will that help him against Brock Lesnar? What would it do for Jinder if you're just getting thrown around by Raw's champion? What is that going to make you look like on the SmackDown end? How does that help him going forward if what they say is true, that AJ and him are going to have a feud afterwards, and that the plan is for him to fight Cena at WrestleMania? Will that be for the title? Do they keep the title on him until WrestleMania? So him going against Brock Lesnar, what can they do with this?
I have no idea. He could lose.
Well, it seems to me the only legitimate way to finish this match would be to have Jinder win. And that, because maybe with the Singh brothers' help.
Clean, with one move.
Jeez, yeah. Last year nobody would have thought that Goldberg would have buried Lesnar, but that had money written all over it, and that had further plans to WrestleMania. This does not. What would happen to Brock if he lost to Jinder? The only thing I can think of is that Jinder cheats to win, but gets a win, which is a huge boost to him.
Oh yeah.
Because if Brock just beats him in no time, then what's it really saying? Okay, well, this is what we expected. SmackDown's champion sucks, and this guy's dominant. What does that do for anybody?
Really.
I don't know. But we'll see what happens with that. We're going to wait to see if Brock accepts the challenge from Jinder. So we'll see about that. Dolph Ziggler against Bobby Roode. Second match, a rematch from their Hell in a Cell match in which Ziggler lost to Roode by Roode pulling the tights up. In this match, we saw the exact same thing, just reversed. Ziggler got the pin on Roode after another roll-up, and he grabbed the tights. What did you think of this one?
He won the last one. Now he wins this one.
Yep.
So I don't know. I feel like there's no real heat yet. I don't know. Can you say that?
Yeah, there really isn't. Other than the fact that these guys both can go. We had that flub on the mic a couple weeks ago. The match last week was good, not great. So where do we get the rubber match? Do we get a rubber match again on SmackDown, or do they save it for a pay-per-view and a gimmicky match? Who knows? But the bottom line is that I'm excited to see these guys wrestle. But, again, not a lot of substance other than, okay, Dolph is mad because this guy uses elaborate entrance and music, and Dolph now has none of that. Again, what happens after this feud? Does he only go after guys with big entrances? Does his gimmick change again? Where is this going? Again, with WWE and their writing, where is anything that they're doing going? There's a few feuds that are great, and there's a few that are just like head-scratching, and this is one of them. Two great performers. Hopefully they can get something going and get people's interest in it. Again, though, I think Bobby Roode really needs to be a heel. So much better as a heel. His persona and that whole character could be so great as a heel. It was in NXT. So we'll see where they go. And the main event, we had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beating Shinsuke and Orton with some shenanigans. again, not sure. Orton may be turning heel soon. Shinsuke keeps, getting not buried, but he's on a little bit of a streak here where he's not winning anything. So, what are you going to do? Obviously, trying to build up Owens and Zayn as a tag team together, or a team in some way, unified front. So we'll see where they go with that. If they're going to go towards what people think may be AJ and Shane against them at Survivor Series, which would not be a Raw versus SmackDown match. So we'll see what happens with that. So, the moment everybody's been waiting for, our TLC review from last night. And what an event it was. We had a couple really awesome matches, a couple fill-ins that ended up being better than probably the regular match would have been. So what we did find out is, coming into this, we're going to see Asuka perform. We're going to see the Shield come back together. We're going to see yet another Finn versus Bray Wyatt match, but this time the Demon against Sister Abigail, right? Wrong.
Molly Mumps. The
Molly Mumps comes along and takes out half the roster. So it seems to have really affected the worst. Bray and Bo. And Bo obviously has not been around for a couple weeks with the Miztourage. And also Roman Reigns had gotten it after last week's Raw. So what does that mean? Well, they take Reigns out of the main event, and here comes Commissioner Kurt Angle to take his place, which was a huge move. I mean, that's a big deal, and I don't think enough was made of it, but I don't think there was enough time. Because that was been a big debate. All right, Angle's back. Will he wrestle? It's only a matter of time when. And it wasn't really a lot of hoopla, but it didn't really, really couldn't have that much. And then we also find out that not only is Bray Wyatt not going to be able to wrestle, but the Demon still wants to wrestle, and they plug in probably the best choice to fight Finn Balor, AJ Styles, which immediately got so much buzz because of it. So let's go over the card. So on the pre-show, we did have Sasha Banks beating Alicia Fox in a very, uncool match. I don't know. It really just not a lot of heat in it, not a lot of excitement for this one, the pre-show, and again, one brawl on Raw leads to this match, so just kind of in a holding pattern with some of the women, obviously. First match of the night, we get Asuka right away. Emma comes out. Asuka's entrance, even a little bit more elaborate than it was in NXT, but beautiful with her mask on the screen, a lot of colors and brightness, and she comes out almost like the female Shinsuke, very animated, very I don't know what the word is. I guess animated, very
flamboyant.
Flamboyant is a great word. That's cool. Anyway, the match itself was better than I thought. Emma put in a lot of offense. They had a really good match. Eventually, Asuka, of course, gets the win. What did you think about the debut of the Empress of Tomorrow?
As advertised. Very, very cool. And yeah, like you said, I thought Emma did way better than, against this opponent than I think people would have thought.
There goes
you
my pen.
Dropped a pen.
I son of...
Wait, come back. I don't know what to say. Okay.
I'm back. Yeah, definitely a good match, a good debut, and I'm sure that we're going to get a rematch tonight after some videos that were shown on the network and on the internet, on YouTube or wherever. So glad to have Asuka there. Hopefully they don't misuse her because she can run this division for sure. Second match was...
She does my taxes, too.
You're lucky. Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann beat Gentleman Jack Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick, the man with the plan. Yeah. So, again, Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann are two of my favorite guys in the Cruiserweight division. And to see them as a tag team, all I could think about was I would like to see these guys as a tag team outside of 205 Live. Cedric is one of the best guys that they have pound for pound as far as wrestling ability and excitement. I mean, the guy is awesome. And I really think Rich Swann is great, too. Not that the other two that they beat aren't, but I could really see these guys as a tag team together making some moves. I think that they would be good. What do you think of Cedric Swann?
I think they're good, but I feel like Gallagher and Kendrick, they might as well just be like pirates, British pirates. British pirates. I mean, one guy's British, the other guy has a pirate flag. Just go full on pirate. There's no pirate wrestlers right now.
I don't think so.
At least
there used to be Jean-Pierre Lafitte, but his act was just as bad as My Feet Stink, so didn't last very long.
Was he a pirate?
He was. He was actually one of the Quebecers, and then he became a pirate. With a puffy shirt, eye patch, and everything.
I don't remember the pirate gig. Oh.
Yeah, well, that's because it was a flash in the pan. I think his biggest match was against Bret Hart, if I remember correctly. But yeah, nothing really happened with him. So anyway, Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann get the win. Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss, a pretty good match with Mickie James. She ends up pulling Mickie into the corner. Mickie hits her face on the turnbuckle, turns around, eats a DDT, 1, 2, 3, and Alexa defends again. Alexa defends successfully against Mickie James. Mickie James gives a little speech afterwards, which says that one day she'll be the champ again, and don't count her out yet. Blah blah.
I thought she was retiring.
No, that's what I kind of thought too. But she was very genuine and emotional. It looked like, and
I thought she was going to leave the Undertaker's gloves in the ring. Where did she get those?
She's going to leave her tassels in the ring. Either way, yeah, Mickie looks still beautiful, still has all the potential in the world to keep going, and we wish her the best. And it did seem like afterwards on Raw Talk that that Alexa was kind of moving on to Survivor Series already by saying something about leading her team and then making reference to Charlotte. So it looks like we may get a women of SmackDown versus a women of Raw match with possibly Alexa leading her team and Charlotte leading hers. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that one and keep you updated. Enzo Amore beats Cruiserweight champion Kalisto, who only had a 2-week run with it, to become the new Cruiserweight champion for the second time now. Yeah. What did you think of the Smack Talker Skywalker over here?
Over here. I think we expected that. I mean,
we called it. Yes, we did.
Like we were saying last week, he makes money.
Yep.
He sells shirts. Mm-hmm. So it makes more sense to have him have the belt.
I agree. An interesting thing. Kalisto had like a shoot interview, and he pretty much said that it's only a matter of time before people just get tired of his mouth. His mouth is only going to take him so far. His wrestling ability is not there. He can't go, as Kalisto said. And I don't think that that's really talking in character. I think that's the feeling of a lot of the people in the locker room. But like you said, the guy's making money. He's getting some eyeballs on 205 Live. So as long as that's the case, money talks. So
he sells hair too. That fake hair.
And then we'll see once Big Cass comes back. What happens if they keep Cass by himself? Who knows? But Enzo Amore right now, again, the Cruiserweight champion. We'll see where that goes. The Demon Finn Balor, and clearly the match of the night, and obviously a candidate for match of the year. The Demon Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. Now, again, this is exactly... I was even reading something about William Regal. WWE has all these storylines and plots that they just can't get right. These guys had no storyline, no plot, no build, nothing. They had 2 days to prepare. In fact, AJ flew from Chile, Santiago, Chile, the night before just to perform at this event to fill in for Bray Wyatt. Now, there was no hoopla, basically hardly any advertisement for this match. And what happens? These guys get in the ring, and probably the second time I've ever seen this, because I think the first time was the Wyatts against the Shield at one of the old, actually it might have even been TLC. Years ago, I think it was in Indianapolis, and it was the first time I've ever seen a "This is awesome" chant before a match even starts. These guys get in the ring and they're staring each other down. You just know that this is going to be great. And they delivered about 20 minutes worth of magic. It was great. Near falls. Finn Balor gets the win clean with the coup de grace, obviously building him up for what we're going to talk about in a little while for the future for him. But what did you think of Balor and Styles?
Oh, it was amazing. We were just rewatching the finish, and it looks like he really stuck it. Usually he does, that kind of slide back a little bit, but it looks like he went right.
Yeah, he had no give on that. His feet hit, and he just was there and just kind of fell over after that. But
ladder exploded.
Yeah, listen. Wow. Great match between the two guys. I don't really see it as burying AJ. He came to fill in for somebody. Obviously, the plan is to make Balor look great, but these guys had a great match together, and you can always use the angle of, he didn't have time to prepare. He flew in from Chile. Regardless, I think this puts WWE on notice and lets them know, okay, we need to do these dream matches more often, because the people... From minute one, from the minute AJ walked out to the minute they both left, the crowd was on fire, engaged, because they knew what they were about to see. Yeah. Very reminiscent of like a Michaels and Bret Hart match. Both guys gave it their all, and I think that if they were given more time and a build-up, it could be even better. So kudos to WWE for filling in Bray Wyatt with AJ Styles, this is guaranteed was better than anything we would have gotten with Wyatt there. All night long, from the beginning of the pre-show until the match before the main event, Jason Jordan and Elias Sampson, or just Elias, had some run-ins. Elias went backstage to ask Angle if he could have a little mini concert. Jordan took umbrage with that because why you bothering my dad? He's got a big match later, blah, 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 blah. Elias comes out to sing a song, gets pelted with some greens from a shopping cart by Jordan, kind of stupid. He leaves. Comes back later, does more songs, gets pelted again. He leaves. Comes out later in the show, has a match. And then this was really weird, and we watched this and we talked about it. Tag team scoping. All right, there we go. We tag in. We're not holding the little rope, though, but we're good. We're the tag team scoping champions. We just don't have the belts yet. So these guys end up having a match, and at the very end, Elias is going for a suplex while Jordan is outside on the apron. Jordan counters it and rolls him up. We get a 3 count, but clearly Elias kicked out at like 2, not even 2.5, like 2. And the ref still counted him down, so I'm not sure if that was a planned thing. It was very reminiscent of AJ and Owens a couple months ago. Yeah. But either way, Elias takes the loss. Not sure, like I said, not sure if it was planned, but again, the ref's hand went down for 3. What did you think of that?
It looked like a flub, but I don't know, maybe they're going to have to set up a rematch or something,
Yeah, I mean, that would be a cool little feud. I mean, 2 guys who are kind of just on the up and coming, and
that would have been some weird old guy like collecting the vegetables thrown. I'm going to make a stew.
Cabbage.
Just some weird old guy just comes out from the crowd and just putting
starts saving. Yeah, that would have been good. Either way, it was disappointing to see Elias get the loss, but again, looked kind of sketchy. So maybe that's his angle. He comes out. I didn't really lose. Clearly, I kicked out at 2. They have a rematch or a feud now. But either way, I mean, at least there's a substance to it. It's the beginning of something. To get 2 guys that don't really have a whole lot going on right now, 2 guys you want to get some spotlight on, that's a good way to get them going. Okay, main event. Obviously, we have the Shield minus Roman Reigns, but with Kurt Angle now, taking on Intercontinental Champion The Miz, Cesaro, Sheamus, Braun, and Kane in a 5-on-3 TLC match. What does that mean? Well, tables, ladders, and chairs are legal, no disqualifications. Usually TLC matches are won by climbing up the ladder and grabbing belts, but no belts on the line, so this was just a straight-up kind of street fight. This match went over 30 minutes. A little bit too long for me as far as some of the stuff. Did keep you engaged the whole time, a lot of high spots, putting Cesaro and Sheamus through tables from a ladder, jumping off the top of a garbage truck, and doing some splashes. We did see at one point Kane turn on Braun Strowman. They had a little altercation in the ring where I believe Kane hit Strowman with a chair by accident. Strowman goes after Kane, ends up getting chokeslammed through the stage, and then Kane pulls down some prop chairs onto Strowman. Strowman eventually later gets up, confronts his teammates, and starts wailing on all of them. So what do? They tag team on him. They throw him in the back of a garbage truck and hit the scooper.
Dear God, no.
Similar to how I broke my leg years ago when I worked on a garbage truck.
You got thrown in.
I didn't get thrown, but I'm an idiot, and I got my leg caught in something. But either way, it was not pretty. But he gets thrown in there, and the compactor starts pressing him in, which would kill a normal person, obviously. But no cops arrested these guys, so clearly, they got away with it. But
it wasn't attempted murder.
So at one point, too, Angle gets put through a table and gets taken to the back. So now it's a 4-on-2 handicap match. They get Rollins in the ring. They're pounding on him. Dean saves him, and right before a chokeslam, Angle's music comes out. He comes out in probably one of the cooler spots of the night. Cesaro takes a run at him. He backflips him onto the ramp. He then misses a bro kick from Sheamus and gives him the angle slam on the floor, and then gives Cesaro the angle slam through a table.
Yeah, you really watched this.
I did watch this. I'm not kidding. No, I'm not. They're just making this up, and everybody's believing me.
They're like, yes.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yes.
But nonetheless, when all is said and done, the Shield and Angle all give The Miz their finishing moves, and then hit the triple power bomb on The Miz to pin him and walk out of TLC successful. Where does this leave everybody here? So what happens? Is Roman Reigns get inserted back into the Shield when he is healthy? Is the Shield done? Is Kurt Angle going to wrestle again? So many questions coming out of here. What did I think of Kurt Angle yesterday? So a question just came up on Periscope, for those who can't see that. What did we think of Kurt Angle yesterday? What did you think of Kurt Angle?
I thought he did a great job for somebody that's been out of the game for a while. I mean, especially with all the injuries he's had. And
yeah, I mean, listen.
Short notice.
Yeah, he hasn't been in a WWE ring in 11 years. He hasn't been in a real ring to wrestle probably in a couple months. I think his last match was, I believe it was Alberto Del Rio. I'm not sure. I guess that was before WrestleMania. So he hasn't really wrestled since April, or maybe before April. The first thing you notice when he came out, even wearing his Shield garb, is that he's still ripped. He still is in great shape. And listen, he said that he kind of needed some more cardio work, but you wouldn't be able to tell. I mean, the guy can still go, and I'm sure he can have some great matches. I think they limited what he was doing last night, but I do think that what he did do was good. He didn't look rusty. He looked good. He took a few bumps. He took a nasty bump through a table. So the guy can still go. So I was really excited to see Angle back last night.
Did he do the hoo-ah?
He did. Whoa! But he there was a point where he cleared the ring. He gave everybody German suplexes, and he got up and did his little, and everybody, listen, the crowd loved it. Everybody loved it, and I was happy to see him, and a great fill-in. I just wish there was a little more hoopla around it, because it is a big deal. The guy hasn't wrestled since... for 11 years in in WWE, so I thought it was great. What did you think?
What did you? Actually, I like the look on Miz's face when they were compacting Braun.
He was like,
"Are
we gonna get in trouble for this?
Yeah, are we doing the right thing, guys?"
No, clearly not. You're trying to kill a guy, but they won't get in trouble for that. That's why I think if you want to murder somebody, go into WWE, because you won't get in trouble for it. So that was TLC.
The next time we see Braun, hopefully tonight, if he's okay, I hope the first thing he does is pull a fish skeleton out of his mouth.
Well, what they should do is
garbage.
The Miz should be out there or something, and all of a sudden the truck should back up, and all of a sudden he just breaks through the back of the truck and but either way. So I guess for Raw tonight, Lesnar's going to respond to Jinder. On his challenge on Raw. I'm sure he's going to accept, because let's face it, he's not running from Jinder Mahal.
Scared.
Is anybody ready? Who will challenge Asuka? I had to look at your notes, because all I see is who's ready. Oh, we just missed a comment. If you just wrote a comment, can you please rewrite that, just because I just missed it. I wasn't looking at the screen. So is anybody ready for Asuka? No. Niemit. Rashki. Vodka.
Absolutely.
Is anybody ready for Asuka? I don't think so. Not for the time being. I think they're going to play up the undefeated thing as long as they possibly can.
She could wrestle herself.
That's the only person that thinks can beat her right now. What will Kane have to say about his attack on Braun Strowman? Well, he's going to say, I'm the demon from hell, and I have no friends. Whatever.
He's going to put on some glasses and then just start reading, Chris Farley is the Hulk.
I'm running for mayor in Knox County, Tennessee. Braun, vote for me. He's related to my opponent. It's all political.
Yeah, that's right.
He's driven by political. What will Kane say? Is Braun a full-blown babyface now? We're not sure, but it certainly looked that way by the fact that he attacked 4 heels last night during his match, and he was a team of them. Okay. Thank you for that. That's amore.
That's going to sit with me for a while. Okay.
That's amore. But for how long? How long will we have this amore, this love?
Oh, they could go back and forth. He could lose it and keep on winning it. Like I said, as long as he's selling shirts.
Yeah, listen, I totally agree with you on that one.
What is the number of this? Is it Roman Reigns sells the most merchandise? I can't remember.
You know what? I read that he was battling Cena for number 1. I think he might have even overtaken Cena. Cena's obviously up there. I mean, Cena. There's always little kids who love him. Hello there from the UK in the middle of the night. Hello there, top of the morning to you. That's Irish, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Either way, listen, you guys, UK, got some great wrestling down there. Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, you guys killed it. I wish we'd see some more of those guys. Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns out yesterday. They were. Thank you. Yes, we were discussing that as far as who took over for them, what happened in their matches. We just ran over that. So, yeah, Wyatt and Reigns were out with the mumps, which is a quick way of saying they ran a train on JoJo and they all got, some kind of herpes. or something like that. But what will be the extraordinary next step for the extraordinary Finn Balor?
I didn't even know that we were talking. We didn't even know he was called the Extraordinary.
I did not know he was called the Extraordinary anything, but he is extraordinary.
He is. I mean, you can't be phenomenal because AJ has that. So
very true.
I don't know. What is it? What up next for him? Isn't he supposed to fight Brock Lesnar?
I think that's the plan going forward. That might not happen till the Royal Rumble. I mean, right now it looks like Brock's going to have his hands full with Jinder for Survivor Series. So the next possible big thing would be the Royal Rumble. Now, there's pay-per-views in between. In December, I would imagine that there's going to be some kind of a pay-per-view. But, again, I don't know if that'll be Brock and Finn, or if they're going to save that. You know, they want to just get Brock some challenges before, obviously, he loses the belt to Reigns at WrestleMania. So who does that entail? Well, Finn, possible guys like Finn, Seth Rollins, and maybe even Samoa Joe. You know, Samoa Joe, nobody's talking about him. He'll be back soon. His injury wasn't that bad, so
I forgot he was hurt.
Yeah, you know, you do forget about the guy because he just hasn't been on TV for a little while, but he'll be coming back soon. So that'll be something to watch. So what is next for Finn Balor? Well, for right now, who knows? They might give him that match against Sister Abigail because it didn't happen. We don't know.
The pint is probably next.
Listen, I'm sure he had a couple last night, a couple Guinnesses last night after that match against AJ. So that's the Raw preview for tonight. What will happen with Alexa Bliss? Will we find out if it's going to be a team thing or does she get her next opponent? You know, what will happen with the cruiserweights? Who cares? Nothing prakken back. Yeah, absolutely. We agree. You know, Jason Jordan and Elias will probably further their feud, I'd imagine.
I'm starting to think that Jason Jordan is Angle's son. he does actually look like him a little bit.
I could totally see something happening to where they fight each other, maybe at WrestleMania or something. Like he turns on him and says, "Come on, old man, let's see if you got it. If I'm better than you, blah blah."
And I'm not the father. You know, one of those moments.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Shield as well. If they have some kind of a, I don't know. I don't think Roman will be there tonight. But what happens with Ambrose and Rollins? Do they move on with the tag team belts, or do they keep the Shield thing going for Survivor Series?
From a mump tent.
Listen, maybe it'll be the Shield and Braun against some guys at who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? Couple quick rumors and news notes. Couple quick ditties before we go. Hoppen and Schleichen in Pocono. The Poconos, I hear, are great around this time of year. Yes.
I wish I was there.
People who are watching this on here, I'm sorry, we got somebody that's Russian writing us on Periscope, and I just have no idea because it's not translated what it's saying, but I'm trying to read it as it is. Okay. Sanisiasu. I don't know what is going on. So we talked about Balor having some big things ahead, which is clearly Brock Lesnar, and the Survivor Series being a Raw and SmackDown show, which is what it looks like it's being billed at. Did Alexa give away the women's match? It looks that way, but we'll find out this week. You know, the Mumps did get a victory over Bray and Roman and Bo this week. Triple H danced with the New Day. I believe it was last night. So they had this event in Santiago, Chile, and obviously AJ was not going to be there. So Triple H decided to wrestle himself to save the show in a way.
He wrestled himself?
He wrestled himself, yes. He played with himself in the middle of the ring. But he did fight. Pedigree. He did fight Rusev and beat Rusev with the pedigree, which leads me to believe that when he does come back, it'll probably be to fight KO for the family. So it looks like they're positioning him as a babyface. Nonetheless, he did fight Rusev and beat him, and then the New Day came out afterwards and got him to dance. And I've seen video of this, and he's actually dancing, shaking his ass, and he does some kind of twerk, and as he's twerking, he turns around and kicks Kofi in the stomach, hits him with the pedigree, and then leaves the ring and dances up the aisle. It's pretty funny. So Triple H dances with the New Day there.
Sounds terrible.
Interesting bit of news. I read about a house show that happened. You know, this whole Triple Mania thing that happened with Rosemary, where she got her arm legitimately broken by Sexy Star in a shoot. Everything that happened that night overshadowed the fact that Jeff Jarrett fought in one of the main events drunk.
And he was actually drunk?
And it appears that he did it again this weekend at another show. And because of this, he was told, I guess he left and missed the show the next day. And today, TNA, Impact Wrestling, whatever you want to call them, has cut ties and fired him.
Wow.
Or has cut ties with their association with him. So that Global Force thing didn't last very long. Jeff Jarrett out from being the COO, CEO, CTO, COO, jerk off, fired from TNA, no more.
Booze.
Yeah, well, that's what it seems. The guy can't get out of his own way. He showed up in bad shape and had a 25-minute match that did not clearly go well.
Hope he gets some help.
I hope he does too, man. Jeff Jarrett was a great character, and he's got a lot going. And this partnership, that's JEFF, JARRE, double T. TCM, tables, ladders, chairs, and mumps. Listen, that's what it should have been called. Tables, ladders, chairs, and mumps. I like that. I like that. And measles. And herpes. All right, so next on the list, Ricochet to WWE now. It saved the pay-per-view. It absolutely saved the pay-per-view. You're not going to get much better than AJ against Finn. And Angle coming back definitely... listen, Roman's got a bad rap for not being a good wrestler, and I don't agree with that at all. But I do think that Angle was awesome. So I'm not upset about that. Ricochet to WWE, quickly. Ricochet is an independent wrestler who's got a lot of talent. He's really awesome. He's also in Lucha Underground. I believe is Prince Puma. Now it looks like he's free to it looks like he's free to take on whatever promotion he wants to starting in January, and I'm hoping that he comes to WWE because he is awesome. He'd be awesome in NXT, and I think he'd be a real asset to them. Not on 205 Live, by the way, on the regular roster. Quick thing about Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega on a little feud. Kenny Omega's calling himself the best in the world, which is obviously Jericho and CM Punk's tagline. Chris Jericho coming out on Twitter saying that Kenny Omega's not even the best person from Winnipeg. And this speculation is that Chris Jericho's got this wrestling cruise coming up at some point where I don't know if his band is playing too, but he's got some like a Ring of Honor tournament happening there, and he's also got some legitimate wrestlers going. Jericho vs. Omega Mania 34 one time only. Listen, I would love to see that. I don't think it'll happen in a WWE ring though. But what I do think is that they're leading up to something. This came out of nowhere, kind of. So maybe it'll happen on his cruise. If it happens at WrestleMania 34, I'd be the first one in line to buy tickets.
Is this an actual cruise, like on a boat?
It's a cruise on a boat.
Wow,
yep.
Terror on the high seas.
Yeah, man. Seriously.
Wow.
So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that one. The British Bulldog's son, Harry Smith. I want to be on that cruise. I'd love to be on it too, for many reasons. I could use a vacation to see some wrestling on the cruise. I'm not sure my girlfriend would really like that very much. That's not her idea of a great cruise, but either way. British Bulldog's son, Harry Smith, saved a suicidal female on a bridge in Calgary this past weekend, I believe. He pulled her over the ledge using force and said that his training in wrestling and grappling and self-defense helped him to save this woman. So kudos to you, Harry Smith.
Cool, awesome.
Braun is a babyface, got that. Now, Nia Jax has a return date. It looks like after November 1st she'll be back on tour with Raw. As far as Neville, not so much. All indications lead to believe that he is definitely done with them. No word has been out of his mouth or WWE's mouth about the situation, but it's believed that he's really happy now and that he will not be coming back. It's a loss for them for sure.
Yeah.
Will Kurt Angle wrestle again post-TLC? I heard Aries was backstage. That is false. Aries did post a picture to Twitter last night with Enzo Amore behind him with a headline, but apparently that was not taken last night. He did clear that up and say that he was not at TLC last night. So he sucked anyway. Well, you know what? He's great. They just kind of put, he would have had a good feud going in NXT with Hideo Itami, but he got his orbital bone broken and then was really good on the mic, and they used him on 205 Live. And they decided to use him similar to how they're using Enzo Amore right now and give a boost to 205 Live. They just never gave him the chance. Aries was champion in TNA, and he's a really good wrestler, and he
ate bananas.
Was misused. He did.
I always thought that was kind of funny.
Another guy misused and gone. Yeah. So that's all you can really say.
And you still find banana peels everywhere, though.
That's how you know it's him. Or Magilla Gorilla. Will Kurt Angle wrestle again? Yes, he definitely will. Not sure when, but he will. And lastly, Ric Flair calls out play ball at the Game 7 of the ALCS in Houston, where my beloved New York Yankees fell to the Houston Astros, and it's all Ric Flair's fault. So I am done with Ric Flair. I'm happy that he's still alive, but now that you did this, and jinxed the Yankees, I have little to say other than let's go Dodgers. That was a rough Game 7. I'm a Phillies fan, yes. It was a very rough Game 7. However, not to get too far off topic, but I'm extremely proud of the Yankees this year. They had a great year. Nobody, if you had told me at the beginning of the year they'd be in Game 7 of the ALCS, win or lose, I would have signed up for that in a second. I was literally in the building at Game 5 last week, and it was electric. The best Yankee crowd I've been a part of since I was a teenager, for sure. And, there was some hope. They were up 3-2 in the series, but, it just wasn't in the cards. But I'm definitely proud of them, and I do think that they'll be around for the next couple years as a serious contender, and we will take down those Astros next year for sure. Anything else, Professor? After I went on that tirade. By the way, Phillies fan, you had a rough year. You had a rough 2009 too. Sorry about that. In New York, as it said on a sign at the Yankee game in New York, we smoke Phillies. So that was that. But no, Phillies got lots of respect. I'm hoping we can be the new Astros. Hey, listen, man, you got some good young guys. Oh, 2009 hurts. Yeah, listen, you guys won it the year before that. So at least you have something. You could be like a bunch of my friends who are Met fans and have nothing. But they got the Indians pitching coach, so that's not bad. I think we're gonna have to turn this into a baseball show now. All of a sudden.
Oh, I thought you were talking about football this whole time. I'm like, I felt bad that I don't watch football.
True. Rice Hoskins. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means, but thank you for watching, brother. So I think that's all the time we have for this week. So we're looking forward to Raw and SmackDown this week. We'll see if anything happens. Read that there's some major changes going on with Raw due to the fact that Roman Reigns is not going to be there. Maybe Bray Wyatt's not going to be there. Hoskins is the future side note. Gotcha. Yes, he's a very good player. Phillies might be good. Let's see. Anybody who beats the Mets, I'll be happy with. Anything you got going on for us, Professor, before we hit the road?
I predict that this whole, like Braun got thrown in the garbage dumpster or whatever, I predict that this is all just a front for the return of Duke the Dumpster Strowman. The dumpster's
Braun the Dumpster Strowman? Gimmick change. Yep. No, Sister Abigail is not JoJo, although she did... Never mind, I was about to get really dirty.
About to.
Sister Abby, I'm sure they're not going to talk much about JoJo being associated with Bray. But Sister Abigail was supposed to be Bray, just dressed up as a woman with some makeup. So sorry to disappoint you on that.
Is that what it really was supposed to be?
Yeah, he was going to be the persona of Sister Abigail, which is a ridiculous thing when you think about it. We got guys getting thrown into dumpsters and killed. We've got a guy who dresses up in drag. Santina versus Sister Abigail. Yes, Santina. Santina was the female version of Santino Marella. She was in the women's division and won. I believe she won like a Divas Royal Rumble or something. But it was a guy dressed up as a woman.
Doesn't one of the Fashion Police do that?
Yes. So he just wrote Kane's trying to get them to vote for him for mayor, and he ends up killing somebody in the trash. Yeah, it's not a great way to get votes, I'd imagine. And this is the biggest thing. I was really unsure about why he would come back at this time, and wrestle while he's being a mayoral candidate. But I still think he's going to win. I mean, who's going to beat Kane? I'd vote for Kane.
Yeah. My opponent Kane just killed a man.
Listen, Kane. I'm sure Kane is giving some great political promos. I mean, he's been doing it for the last 25 years, so he's got to be good. All right, we're running out of time. I got to go eat and go see my kids, for God's sake. I mean, this is taking so long. But he's pulling a Rhino when he came back. Yeah, exactly. And what happened with Rhino? He lost, so it didn't work out for him. But he's got Heath Slater, so hopefully Kane will have something to fall back on as well. That's enough time for us to this week, guys. We will see you. Keep following us on Facebook. Come get some. Anything you want to do to find us, write to us, like our videos, share our videos, do anything you want. Just watch and spread the word. We love you all. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week when we give you our Raw and SmackDown reviews. Until then, Professor Wolvie, I'm Dr. Rips. Come get some!